Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Ashley and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick and easy crock pot chili recipe. Now this recipe is going to be a more mild chili because I have kids, so they don't really like anything spicy. But if you like spicy stuff, I'll show you in the video how to go about making it more spicy. I'm also going to be using stuff that we put up this past season instead of what you buy at the normal grocery store. So I'm going to be using a quart of our tomato sauce instead of a can of tomato sauce. I'm going to be using dehydrated tomatoes that we did instead of diced tomatoes, and a few other dried ingredients that we put up to save instead of cutting them fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to that now. And remember, if you like this video, hit subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. That way you can continue to see any future videos that we might do, whether it's with cooking or canning or gardening or life in general. Just make sure you stay tuned for what's next. So we're going to start with 2 pounds of ground beef. Then we have onions that have been dried, bell peppers that have been dried, and little sprinkler tomatoes that have been dried. I'm going to be using these in place of diced tomatoes. Then you have your kidney beans, your garlic, tomato sauce, tomato paste, crushed red peppers. Then you have onion powder, garlic, oregano. I'm going to be using my fresh oregano that has been dried. And if you don't have fresh, you can use the store-bought. Paprika, chili powder, cumin, and coriander. And then a little bit of flour as a thickening agent as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and measure out all the seasonings, and then we'll move on from there. So next I'm going to just chop up my garlic. Normally I would only use about 3 cloves, but these are pretty tiny. So I went ahead and did just a good little bit. And then all you're going to do is you're going to chop that up, mince it up. Doesn't have to be super small, as it will start to cook down in the crock pot over time. I'm just going to kind of chop it up, and then we're going to go on to putting it all together. So next, what we're going to do is you're going to get your pan a little warm, spray it so your meat doesn't stick. Go ahead and toss your meat in. Now, I would prefer to use fresh meat, but I had to freeze this, so I'm just going to do that. Now, I'm not going to break this down a lot. You want to leave it in bigger chunks, that way it can stay a little tender, and that way when you go to put in your crock pot, you'll have plenty of time for it to break down in the chili itself. So we're just going to cook this up. We're going to toss in our garlic. Once that has browned a little bit, add a little salt and pepper, and then we will start combining everything in the crock pot. You can see our meat is starting to brown. You can see all that grease on there. The reason I'm cooking this first is so I can get all of that off. That way when I put it in my crock pot, it's not going to be a really greasy chili and not try to have to skim that off at the very end. And I am using 2 pounds instead of just a pound like most people, is my family likes a more meaty chili than beans. You could use 1 pound of meat and then add another can or 2 of beans if you like a more beany chili. So I went ahead and drained off some of the grease already. You can see I left some of the meat in bigger chunks, trying not to break it up too much. That way it can stay tender and continue to break up while cooking in the crock pot. So I'm going to return it to the pan now, and at this point I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic and a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we can add more when we put it in the crock pot to cook. So our meat is done browning. I am not going to brown the garlic because it'll be more bitter. So I kind of just sweated the garlic some, and we are ready to go ahead and add things to our crock pot now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my meat first. Okay. Then we're going to add our dried onions, our dried peppers. I'm using sprinkler tomatoes, which are just a smaller grape tomato. They're a little bit bigger than a pea size, but when dehydrated, they look like this. And you can just use a regular 15-16 ounce can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to add 1 can of light red kidney beans that have been drained and rinsed, and 1 can of dark red that has not been drained or rinsed. Okay, and then I'm going to stir that around a little bit. Those onions, again, you can use less onions than a cup of dried onions. So a cup of dried onions is probably equal to 2 small to medium onions. Now my family really likes onions, so that's why I'm using those. And you can also do without the peppers as well. So next we're going to add our tomato sauce. Now I made this from fresh tomatoes. This is our garlic, onion, oregano sauce. We're just going to add that in. This is 1 quart, so anywhere between 28 to 34 ounces of sauce. And then I'm going to add tomato paste. Now I'm using also one that I have created from our tomatoes, and I'm just going to add about a little over a tablespoon in there. We're going to give that a quick stir. If you need to, you can add a little bit of water or a little bit more tomato sauce. Depends on how you like your chili. If you like it more tomatoey or a little less tomatoey. And then we're going to take our seasonings that we have got and stir those in. This is smelling really good. You can see it already looks really good. I can't wait to see what that tastes like when it's done. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of, even it out a little bit. Add just a tad bit more salt. Sprinkle that in on top. And that's it. Crock. I just want to let you guys know that you can also cook this on low, but due to the time of the day, I'm going to go ahead and cook it on high for about 3 to 4 hours. If you cook it on low, it could be anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. Your meat is basically done, so all you have to do is really cook down your beans and marry all the flavors together. Okay, just want to show you the final product. It looks really good. Don't mind the cartoons in the back. The kiddos are watching that before they come eat. Look at that steamed. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go subscribe. That way you can see all of our future videos. Thank you again.